Hello, everyone. Welcome to Season 6, Episode 1 of I See Bad Movies. How exciting! How exciting! And I'm obviously Dave Keane, one of your hosts. I am joined by the superior, ultimate Captain Emma Spicer.
Captain?
Yeah, Captain. See, each of those descriptions of you is a clue as to our topic for this season.
Okay.
So you've got Superior Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, Captain America, Captain Marvel, etc., etc. So this season is all about killer aliens. No, superheroes.
Superhero movies, yeah. Bad superhero movies.
Terrible superhero movies.
Yeah.
So we're just watching all the DC movies, are we? Batman. All the Batmans, the Aquamans, and...
Did Ben Affleck play Batman once?
Yeah. Several times, in fact.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah, he was actually... I thought he was a decent choice for the Batman. He was a very broody, very grumpy.
He's pretty
slammed
grumpy.
a lot of doors.
Batman.
You
Slams a lot of car doors.
Usually on a bad guy's head.
Yeah.
He was quite a rough and tumble Batman. You don't really want to. They're not great. Yeah, they're not great. There's one point in one, and I'm sorry, dear listeners, if you love the DC superhero movies, but there's one point in one. It's Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
Okay. Ben Affleck as Batman is got I think he's got like a kryptonite spear or something, and he's about to kill Superman.
Yeah.
And Superman goes, "Save Martha." Now, Batman's mum's name is Martha.
Yeah.
But Martha's been dead because famously Batman's an orphan. And Superman's mum is called Martha. And she's been kidnapped by the bad guys. Okay. And at that point, he's like, "Why did you say that name?" And then they start talking. And then they team up. And it's, painful.
Sounds awful.
Save Martha. Anyway, that's not the superhero movie we're watching tonight.
It's not, no.
It's not. There are so many terrible superhero movies, and I'm actually really excited for this season because...
You like superheroes anyway, don't you?
I do enjoy superhero movies.
I
like the decent stuff. I do read a lot of comic books, or did read a lot of comic books. If you ask me about anything in the last 10 years, I've got no idea.
Yeah.
But I'm quite into it. And I also love terrible movies, and there's a lot of terrible ones, and there's a lot of really up-to-date terrible ones that we might be able to watch, rather than always finding ones that are...
I can't stand the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man ones.
Can you not?
No,
they're not awful.
Spider-Man.
And
I don't like Kirsten Dunst. Is that
her name? Do you not? Yeah, Kirsten Dunst.
I can't stand her.
Really? Oh, interesting.
So, yeah.
Very interesting.
Like, he's not a lead character to me.
Well, that's the end of the podcast, everyone. That's, no. Okay, I can understand it. Tobey Maguire is a quite polarising actor.
He's not a superhero.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I get it. Spider-Man's a bit geeky. Yeah. He's a very different Spider-Man. What about Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man? Did you see any of those?
No, I haven't seen those, but I imagine anyone's better than...
What about Tom Holland as Spider-Man? Have you seen any of those?
I don't think
Wow.
No.
Have you seen any superhero movies?
I've seen a couple because Brody likes them.
Yeah, sure. So this is going to be an education for you.
This is going to be educational for me because I haven't seen many, actually. Yeah. We did quite like Ant-Man because it was funny.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ant-Man and whatever else.
Now, we have obviously already watched one superhero movie this podcast.
What, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No. Although that was like a superhero one. Well, we did also watch Power Rangers, but that was on the
kids
on the Patreon for the bad kid movies. Ghost Rider. That's a superhero movie.
Of course, yeah.
So we have dabbled our toes into
dipped our toes in the water,
bad superhero movies.
Yeah, that's true.
But there are a lot of like very recent ones. I think we're going to have a smattering of slightly older movies. Mixed in with some of the newer ones as well. And certainly since the 2000s onwards, there's going to be quite a few we can look at there. I also went to see in the cinema one of the worst superhero movies I've ever seen recently. The new one, Madame Web, with Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney.
Terrible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not as bad as everyone was making out.
Yeah.
It's still awful, but everyone was just jumping on the bandwagon, and and I think that's what was getting people views.
Yeah.
Was just hating on this film. Still some very questionable choices. I doubt it'll be out by the time we've finished recording episode 6 of this season. But if it's out and available, I think it is one that we should do, because you'll find it hilarious.
Okay.
Our superhero, her superpower seems to be hitting people with cars.
Okay.
So,
Is that a superpower, or was that just a murderous person?
Well, she seems to be in the right place at the right time with a car to hit people with it when she needs to.
Okay.
So, you tell me if that's a superpower or not. It's really
I don't
not.
think that would hold up in court, would it?
No, I don't think it
You've
does.
murdered 10 people with your car. It's a superpower.
Different
Can't help
cars.
it.
Different cars. Most of which have been stolen.
Oh, so another crime.
So would you like to know the movie we're watching tonight?
Yes.
Well, you know the movie
I know
we're
the
watching
movie,
tonight. I suppose I'm talking to the listeners there.
Yeah.
Emma, would you like to tell the listeners what we're listening to?
We
what
are
watching?
watching Captain America, but the 1990
Yes,
version.
1990.
Is it just called Captain America?
It's just called Captain America. And funnily enough, I think that one of the greatest superhero movies released was a Captain America movie.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it was the second of the new ones,
okay.
Winter Soldier.
Yes.
It's the best one so
I don't
far.
think I've seen that. I've seen the first one.
Yeah, which is all right, but the
Yeah.
second one is fantastic. Winter Soldier, great film. This, however, is not the Winter Soldier.
No.
Would you like me to read the synopsis to you?
Yes, please.
So, during World War II, a brave, patriotic American soldier undergoes experiments to become a new super soldier, Captain America. Racing to Germany to sabotage the rockets of Nazi baddie Red Skull, Captain America winds up frozen until the 1990s. He reawakens to find that the Red Skull has changed identities and is now planning to kidnap the President of the United States. I know.
So who's playing Captain America in this one?
So Captain
Anyone we
America, no, but you'll recognise the name, kind of.
Okay.
He's being played by a guy called Matt Salinger. Well, do you recognise the name J.D. Salinger, who wrote The Catcher in the Rye?
Okay.
So Matt Salinger is J.D. Salinger's son, if I remember right, or some offspring of a family member of J.D. Salinger. And I hate The Catcher in the Rye. It's a terrible book.
Okay.
And I've only read it because, when the BBC did, 100 best books of all time,
Yeah.
I decided to kind of make my way through as many of them as I could,
Yeah.
apart from any Jane Austen. And I read The Catcher in the Rye, and I just I want the main character, Holden Caulfield. You just want to smack him. Just pull yourself together. Just get over yourself. Okay. But yeah, anyway.
J-Lo.
Yeah, a bit like J-Lo. Yeah. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
So, do you know, because when we recorded This Is Me Now,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here just talking about the film, and then I was just about to be like, we'll just get on with watching the film now. I completely forgot that we have our categories and everything to pull.
Yeah.
Honestly, what am I like? Right, so hopefully we'll pull this up. What do you reckon?
Good.
Oh no, we're going to look at the bad in this episode, which I think there's going to be quite a lot of for this one.
Yeah, to be fair.
And you're picking the categories, Emma. So I am, for the benefit of you dear listeners, fanning out our card categories right now. And if you wouldn't mind picking away.
Casting.
Oh, okay. First one's casting.
Special effects.
Special effects. Oh, that could be a good one for this, yeah.
Superhero movie.
1990s superhero movies.
Line.
Oh, okay.
It hasn't come up for a while,
It hasn't, actually.
Scene.
Okay.
And there's just one more, isn't there?
Just one more.
Costume.
Costume.
Which actually might be quite good in a superhero movie
Oh
as
my
well.
God, yes.
Quite good ones for... And I promise that wasn't even fixed, was it? I genuinely
No, I know.
spit this out.
Are you implying that we sometimes fix the
No,
categories?
of course not. Sometimes
Come
we have
on.
a wild card, though, don't we? Because sometimes we pull ones out that we're just like, none of these are any good.
None of these apply,
But actually, I think this is a really good selection for a superhero movie.
Yeah.
We could just have these every time for this season.
Although I think it would be
Although
nice
that
if we can
music
get
sometimes
something
would be
like stunts mixed in,
Yeah.
depending
Stunts
on
would
the
be
film.
good for, yeah.
Right, Emma, shall we go and watch Captain America 1990.
Let's do it.
Well, welcome back, Emma.
I mean, this is going to be a difficult episode.
Isn't it just?
Yes.
To anyone who's a fan of Captain America out there, this movie does not do him justice.
This is not the movie to watch if you're a fan of superheroes, Captain America, or indeed movies.
Yeah, I think that sums it up.
Give it a miss.
Very, very nicely. This is not the movie to watch if you like movies.
I'm going to be completely honest with the listeners. I must have fallen asleep during this movie at least 3 times.
Yeah.
I think you were at least 3 times as well.
Yeah.
We sort of alternated falling asleep. And I don't think we've ever both fallen asleep during a movie before.
No.
Fair enough, we both had quite a long day, I think. We're both quite tired.
Yeah, we'd had pretty tough weeks. I'd had a cold that week as well.
Yeah, you'd had a cold. I've just not been sleeping great.
Yeah.
So both pretty tired anyway. But normally...
It was the perfect storm.
Normally we can make it through. It was only like an hour and a half or so, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was not that long a film.
So
Standard film.
Yeah, normally we'd be okay. If there's stuff going on, fine. But it wasn't the most boring movie.
We do start movies late. So we're used to it. We're used to it.
Yeah, and we've never fallen asleep.
Never.
I don't think, have we?
Never. I don't remember ever falling asleep through a film.
No, I don't think we have.
And
even when we have watched them late before, because we've started at like 11, half 10, 11 something.
Oh Christ! I mean, there were some nights when I've left here at like nearly 2 a.m, and because we've watched an extra film, someday. I know, it
was a tough.
watch. It was. You know what we needed to get through that movie? Some of Captain America's super soldier serum.
Yeah.
We needed our own...
Or just some drugs or something. If we had been on drugs, it probably would have been alright.
Probably would have the film a whole of a lot bloody more interesting, to be honest. Not a lot happens in this film, really, does it?
Considering it's a superhero movie, you're expecting so much action.
Yeah.
And that's the only word I can think to describe it. It was so boring.
It was. You don't even really see Captain America doing much Captain America.
No, you see him throw his shield a couple of times, which is clearly made out of plastic.
Yep.
It's awful. But other than that, it's just him talking and walking around. There's no... I mean, they haven't really tried to even attempt to do stunts or special effects, have they?
Not particularly. There's some stunts.
Yeah, but not...
But not great.
Nothing.
There's nothing that makes you think, oh, wow...
No.
The stunt coordinator was really, putting the boat out on that one, pushing the boat out. What is it with me and saying tonight? I'm getting all sorts of sayings wrong tonight. What was it? It's like I was earlier throwing your hat in the ring. What? That doesn't make any sense. I think it's just throwing your hat in, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
I honestly can't remember. Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's...
Right, so let's run through the synopsis of Captain America 1990. Very, very quickly.
Yes.
And do you know what the most annoying thing is, right? I think actually I was saying in the intro, wasn't I, that I think Captain America, The Winter Soldier, is one of the best superhero movies I think I've ever seen. And this Captain America film, is quite possibly one of the worst superhero movies I've ever seen.
Yes.
And I've seen Superman 4, A New Hope. And no, is that New Hope? No, sorry, Superman 4, Fight for... Oh, God, I can't remember. It's the anti-nuclear power one, anyway. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
That's awful. And I also have been to the cinema to see Madame Web.
Oh, yeah, you said,
I've also very nearly walked out of the cinema watching the recent Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay.
And what else? Yeah, I didn't bother going to the cinema to watch Morbius, because that just looked dreadful.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of, what's his name, Jared Leto, either.
Oh, okay,
in movies.
So, is he still making movies?
Yeah, he's still making movies.
He's in a band now.
Isn't he a cult leader as well or something? Doesn't he? Is like allegedly.
Quite possibly. A lot of them are.
Yeah. That's
when
the thing,
I say them, I mean people in like Hollywood.
A lot of them.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. All right, so our movie opens in Italy in 1936. Fascist Italy under the fascist government of Benito Mussolini, I imagine, in 1936. We open up in a rather lovely little sort of family setting as a young man playing the piano for the family, and everyone's happy. And then all of a sudden, the windows are shot in. The fascista come busting in, and I honestly thought Benito Mussolini was leading them at first, because it was a man who was very much dolled up like Benito Mussolini was. I don't need to keep saying his name. I could just say Mussolini. We'll know who I'm talking about. But I had to look it up. It's not. It's just a fascist general. That's okay. I think that's what the only description in the cast. So they bust in and they kidnap the child playing the piano, whose name is Taggio De Santis. That doesn't mean anything to anyone, because they are going to use him in a project to create a super soldier. In which they do, and he basically is the one that becomes the Red Skull.
Yes.
But see, the thing is, right, this is where it first sort of deviates from the comics. The Red Skull is German.
Oh, okay,
not Italian. And I don't know why they did it in... The only reason I can think they did it in Italy was because if it was released in 1990, the Berlin Wall wasn't down.
Oh, okay.
So they might not be making films in Germany or wanting to make films about... I honestly don't know why the shift to Italy. Or maybe they just wanted a holiday in Italy.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe just location. I think sometimes movies are just set somewhere because it's a nice, location to shoot, and it's nice for everyone to go and have a little holiday as well.
Interesting. So when I do finally write Baywatch, it's going to be
set in the Bahamas.
That's why it's going to be set in the. It's Santa Monica Bay in California,
nice.
Where Baywatch was filmed.
Yeah.
Did I tell you? Because I don't know.
Baywatch.
I was in Baywatch. Yeah, I was David Hasselhoff. I was the Hoff.
I see what you did there. You just changed your surname.
I know, and no one noticed. But I don't know if I remember telling you, but on April Fool's Day, I released the. Let me show you. Let me read it out to you. So on April Fool's Day, I released a post from us, and I meant to tell you, and I completely forgot because it's good to run these things past you. But this is what I released. There's a little script there, Baywatch by Emma Spicer and David Keane.
Oh, I think I did see this.
Did you see this? Yeah. Exciting news, everyone. We've been working hard in the background to secure funding for our own movie idea. We're really proud to announce in association with the Dia de los Inocentes film group, that's Spanish for April Fool's Day, the very beginnings of our movie Baywatch. 1400 years ago, Beowulf defeated the dragon but bore a mortal wound. Frozen in ice for centuries, he's found and is brought back to life by the lifeguards of Santa Monica Beach. A fish out of water story given a new spin when an ancient Viking tries to adapt to life and love in the modern age. Joining the lifeguards in all their duties, including investigating local crime, soon his new life is shattered by the return of ancient enemies. With an expected release in 2027, we're finalising the script now. It got a couple of likes. Some people said fantastic news. I don't know how much. They meant that.
They were taking the piss all over.
But it wasn't. I'm just going to point out now. It was obviously an April Fool's.
Yes.
However, if anyone does want to fund that movie, Emma and I absolutely would like to go location scouting in Santa Monica.
Well, I was going to say there's no problem with writing a script. There is. We haven't got time, but
does that? We
could write a script, but the problem is having the money to actually film a movie.
I know.
But if we send it into Hollywood, just Hollywood,
you never know.
America, send it off in the post.
I mean, we might have to put a stamp on it.
Yeah, we might have to say
they won't want to pay for the postage that they're in. I don't know,
movie producer, Hollywood,
yes,
USA.
That's it.
And send it off.
Have you read my notes? That's exactly the address I've been given. We
don't even need to send it now. We've got the power of the internet. We can just
email it,
plaster it all over social media.
Do you reckon I could just send it to aaron.sorkin@hollywood.com?
Yeah, it's worth a try.
It's worth a try, isn't it? Or
kids send letters to Santa. They get letters back.
Imagine. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Just send it to Santa. He'll sort it out. He knows everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
it's fine.
This is the plan.
Easy.
We just need to write the script.
No excuses.
There aren't none. No, there aren't none. No. You're quite right. Right, so
Are you literally doing anything to avoid talking about this movie?
a little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit.
I
But
don't blame
talk
you.
about it, we have to.
Yeah.
So the creator of the super soldier serum is a doctor called Maria Vasily. She, however, objects to the fact, and can't quite work it out because there were no subtitles at this point,
Yeah.
and she was shouting in Italian, and I don't speak Italian,
Me neither.
and I don't think a couple of months on Duolingo would help me either. To be honest, with the verbiage she seemed to be using.
Yes.
However, she was clearly objecting. I imagine it was objecting to the use of children, perhaps. Maybe. I don't know. But she objects and she kind of flees out of the window. Is shot at, but isn't wounded or anything. She flees and she runs. But then we find out it's 7 years later.
Yeah.
Now, it's 7 years later, and we are in a leafy, little, bright suburban area. And we see who is our Steve Rogers saying goodbye to his family, having a little party, saying goodbye.
Yes, we do.
And he's picked up by the government and he's off because he has been chosen to partake in the super soldier program.
Yes.
So yeah, he's taken there by a couple of people, and then one of them, he goes through the procedure.
Yeah.
He doesn't go through like a major transformation like Captain America does in the recent movies, because they do that. I don't know if you've not seen them.
The procedure.
Yeah, well, he's kind of off in the background, strapped
remember,
down. But
Unfortunately.
you've not seen the recent Captain America movies, have you?
Yes, I've seen one of them.
Was
I've
it the
seen
first one?
The first one with.
So when
Chris
he's got
Evans,
he's got the tiny little body, and he's got his normal sized head on it. Well, none of that happens because he's just the same person.
He's just the same, and his body's the same, and
nothing changes about him. Apart from the fact, he has polio, so he walks with a stick, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
But now he doesn't have polio. Well, no, the effects of polio don't affect him anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, he's a polio survivor.
Yeah.
That's the word. That's what I was looking for. So it's a success.
Yes.
But before they can complete everything, one of the people that drove Steve Rogers there in the car with him turns out to be a Nazi spy and shoots the doctor dead.
Yeah.
So far, so on point with Captain America's origin story. The only difference being the Red Skull in Italy, not Germany. So Vasily's murdered. Ultimately, what happens next? Vasily's murdered. Rogers gets shot a couple of times and ends up in hospital. But we've got... so Rogers in hospital, but he's not dead. He's fine. The Red Skull now, because it's 7 years later, the Red Skull is now an adult. However, that young boy that was kidnapped 7 years ago, there's no way in 7 years he's aged into what we see on the screen.
No.
He's a very different looking person. We can put that down to the Red Skull being, having the super soldier serum, etc., etc.
Yeah.
However, we find out that he's planning an ICBM, good God bless him, an IC Bad Movies missile strike on the White House. However, American intelligence has picked this up and they want Captain America to go and deal with it. But obviously he's been shot and they're discussing it near his bed in the hospital, and the next thing you know, he's up and he's like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he's like, I'm reporting for duty, sir, or whatever. So yeah. So they're flying in to Italy. I keep wanting to say Germany.
But no.
But no. So he's codenamed Captain America. He's flying into Germany. He I keep laughing at this word. He penetrates the Nazi launch compound. But he's captured because he's been shot. He's injured.
Yeah. So
he's not at his full. And they tie him to the missile, okay?
Yes, they do.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
And the Red Skull was standing there, kind of like, grandstanding about his victory, blah, blah, blah. But he's standing so close
Yeah.
Captain America can just grab him, and the missile's about to launch.
Yeah.
So the Red Skull does what the Red Skull can only do. He grabs a knife, he pulls a knife out,
Yeah.
and cuts off his own hand.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just stab Captain America?
Exactly.
Just like, stab you, let go.
Yeah, let go, yeah.
And the only thing I can think is
Well,
maybe
cut
he's...
Captain America's hand off, not your own hand.
Yeah, the only thing I can imagine is, and maybe I missed it in the film, he goes to stab Captain America in the hand,
He misses
and he pulls his hand out the way, and it gets his own hand. But either way...
In the heat of the moment, you wouldn't really be concentrating, you'd be thinking, I'm going up with this.
Yeah, this missile's going
and I'm going to die.
I mean, literally they're like 5, 4, So, okay, I'll give it to the Red Skull. He panicked, maybe, and cut off his own hand. So the Red Skull now only has one hand. I don't remember that from anything. However, the rocket does go off. Captain America is sent on a one-way trip back to the US on the back of a missile from Italy to the White House. However, this is where it must be in the comic book realms of the world, because there were no missiles at the time that could make that journey. So, fair enough. Super soldier serums, extra special missiles that can go extra distance.
Yeah, we're in the land of comic books, superheroes.
Yeah,
movie land. Anything can happen.
Exactly. So there we are in America now, and we've got a young lad, a little boy out late at night photographing things. Don't know why.
Yeah, that was a bit odd.
He's out late at night and he sees this missile coming towards him.
Yeah.
And he zooms in with his camera, 1943 camera here.
Yeah.
Zooms in with his camera, gets a perfect image of Captain America strapped to this rocket coming flying towards him.
You could never zoom in that far, even nowadays with cameras, could you?
Well, I don't know. I think you could.
Well, nowadays, maybe.
Nowadays,
like
maybe. But But it's something moving at that speed? No. Absolutely not. But 1943 camera, zooms in, sees Captain America on the back of this rocket, takes, admittedly, a blurry photo that is going to stay with this kid for the rest of his life. We'll see that come to fruition later. But what we see through the camera lens is Captain America kicking the rocket and putting it off course.
Yeah.
Why he's taken this long to do that when it's about to crash land in Washington, I've got no idea. But he has. And then the most amazing thing happens. The rocket's diverted and goes off at completely a different angle now. And the next thing we see is Alaska.
Yep.
And the rocket crash lands in Alaska.
Yeah.
So this rocket's now gone from Italy across all of mainland Europe, the Atlantic, to Washington, D.C. And I will point out it's Washington, D.C., not Washington State on the East Coast. Washington, D.C. And then diverted by a kick all across Canada.
Listen, he's a superhero. They can do anything.
To Alaska.
Clearly.
But this rocket, what is going on? Why have they put that much fuel in it that it could go much further than its intended destination?
I have no idea.
It's amazing. But it crash lands in Alaska.
Well, because it needs to crash somewhere that's cold enough that it can get frozen.
Of course.
So they had to make it that it would go that far, because where else would it stop that he could go that he would actually freeze?
You make absolutely perfect points. Absolutely perfect points. So, it could have gone anywhere.
I mean, it could have come to the UK. It was pretty cold here. It's spring and it's still pretty cold. It's April.
I opened my window earlier today, just while I was working in
because it's deceiving, because it looks sunny. You're like, wow, it's really sunny out there. Open
lovely.
the window, it's freezing.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like gale force winds.
Honestly,
and it's just so cold.
It's disgusting.
And we can go through 4 seasons in a day. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we absolutely are at the moment, aren't we, as well?
Wake up in the morning, glorious sunshine. Then you get gale force winds, then you get rain. Then it might just be glorious sunshine again. You just never know.
I tell you what, Emma, I'm sick of it.
I'm sick of it.
I'm absolutely sick of it.
It's bloody April. It's meant to be spring.
We should have we've grown up in this. We should be used to it.
By now, I should have my summer dresses and sandals out, and I haven't. I've still got jumpers and cardigans. And
I should be considering my salmon-coloured shorts.
You should, shouldn't you? Well, consider them a bit longer because they're not coming out.
No, they are not coming out in this bloody weather. Jesus, no.
Anyway, so he lands in Alaska.
He lands in Alaska, and that's him frozen in Alaska. Okay, so then we get like a montage of events happening via newspapers.
Yeah.
We see the kind of events like, and this is not in date order, chronological order, but we see like JFK assassinated.
Yeah.
We see Martin Luther King assassinated. We see the Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated as well.
Okay.
Or was that an accident? I can't remember. Know. I think Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated also. I can't quite remember. But on each of these newspaper articles that we see, down the camera then pans down to like a young boy, Tom Kimball, our young photographer, going up the ranks in the political atmosphere, as it were. Would that be? Anyway, I'm going with it. Yeah. So going up the ranks, some like being big in politics, becoming the state senator, etc., etc. But ultimately now it gets to 1992 and we find out that Tom Kimball, that young boy, is now the President of the United States. Yep. And he is a President of the United States that is very, very forward-thinking.
Yes.
And obviously this leads to people wanting to bump him off or get rid of him. He's pushing environmental legislation, which is not something most American presidents would do because I imagine they'd been lobbied very hard by, the fossil fuel industry quite a bit. However, this makes the military complex quite angry because it's going to affect their budget.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. Because more budget's going to need to be put into green jobs, sustainable jobs, and moving from, moving from plastics and things like that. Yeah. Why am I even bothering trying to remember?
I might have been asleep at that point. This is the trouble.
That's a good point, actually. I may or may not be using a little bit of a synopsis from Wikipedia to help jog my memory of what happened throughout the movie. So that angers the military complex in America, who's headed by General Fleming. But General Fleming also arranged for the assassin, apparently, to kill Dr. Vasily as well. So, we then go to Italy, where we see the Red Skull and General Fleming with a whole sort of shadowy organisation. And we find out the Red Skull's now got a daughter, Valentina, and she's got her own little posse of people that later in the movie chase Captain America around a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's also become the head of a very powerful crime family who would murder Americans who are against militarism and fascism. So all of the assassinations, Martin Luther King, JFK, Robert F. Kennedy, have all been the Red Skull and his plan to get rid of them. But what he's realised is that posthumously, all these people have been venerated and their ideals have been venerated.
Yeah.
So, instead of deciding to assassinate this president, he decides to kidnap him and brainwash him to do what he wants.
Makes sense.
In the meantime, Steve Rogers is found in the ice.
Yes.
Okay. And I found this really funny, actually.
Okay.
He's found in the ice by the West. So the year is now 1992 and 1993, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because 1992, Tom Kimball's elected president. So that the movie's taking place a little bit after that. So it's 92 and 93. And Steve Rogers is found in the ice by a West German scientific exploration team.
Yes.
But as far as I was aware, in 1992, West Germany didn't exist anymore.
Oh, okay.
Because the Berlin Wall came down, didn't it? And they had the reunification. But I don't know if the reunification all fully sort of happened before that time. But anyway, this movie was made in 1990, before all the wall came,
Yeah.
and it was written before the wall came down, I imagine. So they're not going to know, are they?
No.
However, obviously, Steve Rogers wakes up and he's surrounded by Germans.
Yep.
And the last time he was surrounded by Germans or anyone like that was 1943. So,
Yeah.
so he literally says, "Oh my God, Nazis everywhere," and escapes them and runs from Alaska through Canada
Yeah.
down towards California. But he revives and escapes. He makes international headlines which alert both President Kimball and the Red Skull. The Red Skull sends some thugs after him, and they don't get him, obviously, because it'd be a much shorter movie, unfortunately. But he's picked up by a reporter who is a friend of the president and has been a friend of the president since childhood. So at the same, like, early on in the movie, when the president sees this missile and all that, he contacts his friend and tells him what happened.
Yeah.
So the young kid's grown up to be president, his friend's grown up to be this reporter. The president calls this reporter and tells him that it's all true, go and find him. He's making his way from Alaska down to America, hopefully. So he picks him up and he's driving through, and again, another really funny thing happens. Steve Rogers spots that the car's a Volkswagen made in Germany.
Yeah.
He spots other little things about German things, and so he obviously automatically thinks the guy that's picked him up is also a spy.
Yeah.
So we get the first carjacking incident by Steve Rogers. He says, the guy playing Steve Rogers is so awful, isn't he? Mm-hmm. He's so wooden.
Yeah.
He turns to him and says, "Would you mind pulling over? I'm feeling unwell."
Yeah.
As deadpan as that.
Yeah.
You're already falling asleep.
I know, because you're actually making it sound like loads happened. I'm sitting there thinking, it sounds like,
Oh, it sounds like a lot has happened,
loads
but
of action in this movie.
it's not action, though. There's no action happening.
No.
It's just move to one thing, something happens, then they move to another thing, something happens.
And this is his signature move, isn't it? To say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I don't feel well," get them to pull over, and then he steals the car.
Yeah.
He does that a couple of times.
Yeah, he
doesn't
does. And he does it to people that are helping him
Yeah.
already.
It's like,
This first
why
one
do
I
you
can
steal the
understand. This first one I can understand.
Yeah.
Because he thinks, I'm surrounded by a lot of German paraphernalia here.
yeah.
So this guy must be a German spy.
When he wakes up, when he gets disturbed and he's waking up from the ice,
Yeah.
does he know what year it is immediately, or is he still like,
No.
what's going on?
No, he doesn't know straight away. No. And even still, when he's picked up by this fella, he still doesn't know what year it is. It's only when he gets to like California, he finds out that it's all, wait a second, it's all true, blah, blah, blah. So he steals the car, abandons this fella in the Canadian wilderness and drives off. He gets to California, and he's going to California because he had a wartime girlfriend called Bernice.
Yes.
Or Bernie, as he also called her. And he gets there, and there's a woman there, but it's not Bernice, it's Bernice's daughter. And Bernice is now an older lady, and has raised her own daughter, Sharon, who would be, in the comic books, the character Sharon Carter.
Yes.
Technically. I like how you said yes. You don't
Like
know.
I know.
You didn't know.
No, I might do.
I know, but actually, you did say yes in such a way.
Actually, at one point in my life, I did know a lot about superheroes because Brody was mega into superheroes.
Oh, okay.
As about a 4, 5, 6-year-old, maybe even a bit longer than that.
Okay.
Maybe from the ages of about 3 or 4 to about 7 or 8, he was big time into superheroes. Yeah. And I used to read him a lot of stories, like storybooks like Spider-Man, Superman, all of that. So I did know quite a lot about them at one point. However, he's not. He still does like the Avenger movies and stuff like that. And he's watched the Batman ones recently, like the Dark Knight and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my superhero knowledge was quite good at one point.
Well, I would take it all back. And I will also have a 20-question quiz at the end of the... No, I won't do that. That's far too much work. No. Far too much work. No, but yeah, okay, so it turns out that, Bernice is long since married, etc., etc.
She gave up on him. She didn't wait around.
Mm-hmm. Now, whilst they're there, I don't know why Rogers isn't there at the moment.
But Bernice has had a daughter, hasn't she?
Bernice had a daughter, Sharon.
Did you just say that?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about, Sharon.
Sorry, yes.
That's what led you on to the... I know a lot about superheroes, actually. Okay, so I don't know. I think I think Bernice gets Sharon to take Steve out and about to sort of acclimatise him or something, because he's out of the house when the Red Skull's thugs turn up and they kill Bernice while looking for Rogers. And he comes back. Yeah. She's dead. She's dead. Her husband, who's a good man, she tells Steve he's a good man, but that's it.
Yeah, that's what people say when they're miserable and they've settled.
Yeah.
They're not excited by them, they're not attracted to them, but they're a good person.
Yeah, that's exactly the way she says it.
Justify to themselves but they're a good person.
Yeah.
But you don't actually love them, do you? You don't actually have fun or like a great life. You just...
Do you know what?
They're all right, they'll do.
Yeah.
That's what you came across like.
Because we do find out as well that she waited 16 years before...
Wow, okay.
1960...
Hold on, so how old was she when he went?
Well, I'm imagining early 20s.
So then she's waited till she's mid to late 30s.
Well, which is what, 1943 is when he leaves.
Yeah.
So
she's had her kids late 30s, early 40s.
16 years later, yeah.
So how's her daughter? So how many years was he frozen for?
50 years, 1943 to 1992, 93. Yeah.
So she waited for 16 years.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess then her daughter...
Which would now mean her daughter's somewhere close to her 20s to 30s.
So she had her daughter quite late then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think I'd wait around 16 years for any guy.
No, I know.
Not even Chris Hemsworth. I mean, I've waited 42 years for him, but he's still not shown up. But I don't... Yeah, I think 16 years.
16 years, yeah.
If somebody's gone missing, you've got to think about, I don't know, what, the 5-year mark? They're not coming back.
They're not coming back. Yeah.
Am I being harsh?
No, I don't think so.
16 years for somebody?
I don't think so.
What would you think?
I mean, when I used to work for the bank, I had a customer come in, right, who
disappeared.
No, her husband and son disappeared.
Oh shit!
On a trip.
Yeah.
And clearly their bodies washed away and not to be found.
Wow. Okay.
But this had happened 2 to 3 years before.
Yeah.
But obviously, she knew, right? A father and son disappearing, right? They hadn't taken their passports, etc. They were just on like a fishing trip or whatever, sea fishing, whatever it was. And the father and son...
So this was in the UK?
This was in the UK.
Okay.
This was in the UK. So they hadn't taken the passports, they hadn't packed for a trip or anything, no money had disappeared out of accounts.
Yeah.
So clearly, just a terrible, tragic accident. She's 2 to 3 years in and she's kind of at a stage of desperate for confirmation that they're not coming back as well. Mm-hmm. Because you have to think... What is the rule? Is it they've got to be missing for 7 years before they can be legally classed as dead?
But that's got to be worse. Somebody going missing has got to be worse than somebody dying in a lot of ways, because I know that sounds really bad, but if someone goes missing, it's the not knowing.
Yeah, not knowing.
If somebody dies, you can grieve.
Yeah.
You can get to a point of acceptance of,
exactly.
Obviously that's awful to lose a loved one, but... If you know what happens, you can get your head around that eventually, and you can move on and you can move forward knowing what happened. Yep. Obviously it's an awful tragedy, but it happened, and you can come to terms with it, and you can kind of grieve and get on with and move on with your life as and when you're ready. If someone goes missing, it's torture. It must be torture for people, because
it must be.
You've always got that tiny bit of hope that they're going to return, that you're going to find them, and that they're okay somewhere. But then you've also got those awful thoughts of what did happen to them. Did they suffer? Are they still alive? You know, it just
and even if you
torture.
do reconcile yourself to the fact and find some sort of closure and think, well, that's it. There's all. I mean, can you imagine?
But when you haven't got that confirmed, this definitely
15
happened.
years down the line,
and there's been cases of it. There's
like
been cases
somebody
where
turns up.
There has been cases where people have been kidnapped and they've been gone for like 18 years and they found them. It's wild.
Just a completely different person.
I mean, that as well. If somebody does come back when they've gone missing, how do you deal with that? Like, you've lost all of those years. What have they been through?
Yeah.
I mean, it blows your mind. But I do think somebody just going missing and never having that closure of, okay, we've found a body, or we know this happened, or, you know, if you can find some sort of evidence that, okay, we haven't found their bodies, but we know for a fact they were in this place and there was an earthquake or there was a flood or there was a...
Exactly.
So we're pretty sure that's what's happened. I guess even that you can go, okay, even though I can't have a proper funeral and all of that, I've got a very good idea of what happened.
Yes.
It's just the not knowing, I think.
I think that must be the real...
It's torture, isn't it?
Yeah, it is torture, the real torture.
Any sort of closure or to know... Because it would be natural to just hold on to that tiny bit of hope. I mean, even when you know something's really not likely, you've always got a little bit of hope if it's something you really want.
Yes.
And I think, to have a loved one go missing, of course, somewhere deep down you'd always be thinking, but they could turn up, they could be somewhere, they could be found. So, it's...
No, you really can't imagine it, can you?
But I still think the 16 years is a long time to wait around thinking he'll come back.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's, a fella goes to war.
Yeah,
I think in cases of war, missing in action is a bigger impact, you know.
But if someone had gone to war and then they didn't come back, even if you've got no body, you think they went to war.
There's a higher likelihood.
Well, I guess you could be a prisoner of war.
You could
be being held somewhere.
Yeah, you could be. And
so you still wouldn't know, would you?
These things happen. Yeah. Of course they do. But I think at least then maybe you could reconcile it better in your own head. Yeah. Even though, you'd have more that might be a pipe dream. Maybe maybe they've, lost their memory and they're living their days out in some place else as a John Doe. And that was it, and they're rebuilding their life in a different area, or whatever. But you're in pipe dream territory there. Yeah. And if that helps you, God, hold on to it, absolutely. But I don't know how I would react in that instance. I'd give it 6 months and be like, right, way. No, that's maybe.
No, but 16 years is extreme.
16 years is quite extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's just a really great guy, Steve Rogers.
He was quite boring in this movie.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, maybe she held on for 16 years because she was wondering about all these cars he'd nicked from people. Because where did he learn that trick otherwise?
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing with all these Buicks you've nicked? Anyway. So.
Yeah, so she's moved on. She got married. She had a child. Daughter.
They kill Bernice anyway. While looking for Steve Rogers.
And her husband, do they? Or is it just her?
No, he's injured, but he's not dead.
Oh, okay.
So, he had the armour of not being a love interest of our hero.
Yeah.
That does tend to happen a lot. Love interests get fridged is the term of it. Fridged. And it actually comes from a comic book. I can't remember exactly which comic book it comes from. But it's the term where the loved one of the hero is just murdered to move the story along. Yeah. And that's all it's used for, or to give them some sort of arc of dealing with something. Okay. And it happened in a comic book originally and it's called Fridged because the hero found the dead wife or whatever in a fridge. Ooh. So that's where the term Fridged comes from. Yeah. It happened in... Nice. Quite famously, it happened in something very recently that someone was fridged in a film. Oh, I can't remember which film it was, but it was a really... Anyway. We're moving away. We're talking about everything else other than this movie, and we've got to be good. Yeah. Okay. So, Stephen and Sharon go to where he was turned into Captain America, and they find Dr. Vasily's diary, because they also know that Kimball has been kidnapped by now. President Kimball's been kidnapped by now, and they think that finding the diary will help them find the identity of the Red Skull.
Yeah.
To find out where Kimball might be held. And they find the Red Skull's original name in the diary, and they go to Italy, and in the Red Skull's childhood home they find a tape recording of the murder of his family. Before this, I do apologise, before this, Steve does his old car trick again. So when they're in Italy, they're in the tiniest of cars, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's
down a tiny little street, aren't they?
It's a tiny little Fiat.
Yeah.
And he says to Sharon, "Oh, I'm feeling quite ill. Could you pull over?"
Yeah.
And of course, we all know what's going to happen as the audience. But poor Sharon pulls over, checks on him. He gets in the car and drives off. But he gets to the Red Skull's old childhood home. Yeah. And Sharon is there and like, "Come on, I knew where you were going," kind of thing. And you can't keep me back. These people murdered my mother. But anyway, Sharon gets herself kidnapped as a distraction to allow Steve to don his costume and get into the Red Skull's castle, ultimately.
Yeah.
Okay. So President Kimball is rescued by Captain America, and they then sort of siege the castle. However, the Red Skull has got a master plan. He's got a nuclear bomb that he's going to fire off towards, I don't know, probably Washington again. Who knows, wherever. But Captain America plays the recording of the murder of his family to distract him. And before the Red Skull can recover from that, Captain America throws his shield at him and sends him flying off of a cliff. And the funniest death I think I've ever seen in my life. It's honestly so bad.
Yeah.
And then a load of Marines arrive wearing black jumpers, black kind of jumpsuits, which seemed very odd to me. Yeah. Why aren't American Marines wearing kind of US Army uniform?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Who knows? Were they Delta Force? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And they saved the president, but I thought Steve Rogers already saved the president. Who knows? They arrest all the kidnappers, and then Rogers and Sharon embrace, and we get the feeling
weird because
oh well, your mum's dead. Your mum's old.
And technically, he's old enough. He's old enough to be her dad because he was frozen.
Oh yeah, I know, but
technically, he's.
That's the thing, isn't it?
I suppose he hasn't aged, has he? Because he's been frozen.
Yeah, and it's like in the movie Twilight, like Edward and Bella. Edward's like 100-year-old vampire.
Yeah.
Who's been alive for those 100 years. So maturity-wise, he's 100+ years old.
Physically,
but physically, he's in the body of a younger man. But Bella is a teenage girl in a teenage body with a teenage mind. But it's not that he's technically
it's a grey area,
70
isn't it?
in this movie, Steve Rogers, because he has been frozen all those years. He hasn't got that extra 50 years of experience.
I suppose if you're frozen, your mind isn't any older either, is it? So,
but I kind of look at this a little bit.
But it's weird to go with a mum and then a daughter.
Yeah. Oh well.
Matter if you're frozen or
your
not.
mum's too old.
Yeah. Well, your mum's too dead because she's still.
And also, she's dead. But then Captain America's got to, get his end away. Apparently. Yeah. I mean, why does he?
It's a bit grim, though.
It's really grim. It's so grim. I don't understand it. Go away, AVG antivirus. I don't need you covering my screen. But yeah, and then we get a news voiceover that President Kimball's environmental pact has been agreed by countries around the world.
Yep.
And that's it.
Thank goodness that's it.
Thank God.
I mean, I think a lot of it in the end there was really hazy for me because that's when I was really falling asleep. Yeah. But I mean, you made that sound like so much went on, and it just didn't. It was just. Say this happened and that happened. Literally, it was people talking. or they were sat in a car, or there was no
and that was spread
action
over 97
as such.
minutes.
Yeah. There was no action as such, was there? No, like
there was a little bit.
There wasn't like a good car chase or a.
But there was a bit where they were running through the woods.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really impactful. It wasn't exciting. It was just people running through the woods chasing Steve Rogers.
I mean, when was this made? Was this made in the 90s?
Yeah, it was made in 1990. It was released.
But then you've got... So, I was going to say, okay, it's an old movie. It's, special effects and all that wouldn't have been great back then. But, however... You could have still had more action. Like, the special effects might not have been great, but you could have had more attempt at some special effects, some stunts, some action. And there just wasn't.
No, there wasn't.
You can watch things like Ghostbusters and Back to the Future, and at least they attempt some special effects.
Yes.
I mean, they're terrible when you look back on them now.
Yeah,
but they've attempted to
at the
do
time,
something, haven't they?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
at the time we didn't have any better. We didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And
if you look at other movies around about the time, because... Like, you still had...
They still had action in them, didn't they? Still, stuff was going on.
I mean, what you had... So I think this was Marvel's attempt at making movies off the back of, like, DC having really popular movies like Superman, the Superman franchise. And then around about this time, you had Michael Keaton's Batman coming out.
Yeah.
And they all had their effects and their action set pieces. On.
Superman was really old, but that was...
Yeah.
I know it wouldn't look great now, but it was action-packed.
You could believe a man could fly.
Yeah.
But it also does beg the question, right? The first two people that were like, is it a bird? Is it a plane?
Yeah.
Why were they so excited?
Yeah.
Because...
They thought it was a bird.
Yeah. Is it a bird? Yeah. Is it a plane? No, it's Superman.
Yeah.
It's just a bird or a plane. Anyway. Yeah. So... They had all their success, and this is Marvel being like, let's get into movies. Because Marvel does that a lot. DC has their characters, and then Marvel copies their character to a degree. Okay. There's a lot of Marvel characters that are copies of DC people.
Okay.
So it's like, Marvel just going, what DC doing? Oh, movies? Oh, let's make our own movie. But just do it really, really badly. I'm just surprised by it. Well, I'm not surprised by it. It just, it had a $3 million budget. If I look up Batman, the 1990 Batman, what budget did that have? Well, Batman was 1989. Okay, and that was, who was it? That was bloody Tim Burton that directed it, wasn't it? But that must have had a massive budget, or at the time, it must have had a big budget, because I remember it made Jack Nicholson the highest paid actor, didn't it? Because he'd negotiated a percentage of the percentage of the takings and all that, didn't he? But yeah, the budget was $35 million for Batman in 1989.
Yeah, that would have been huge, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's massive. And gross worldwide. For the opening weekend, it made $40 million in the opening weekend in just US and Canada, and worldwide it's at $411 million. So yeah, it certainly had a lot more money, but I don't understand how you can think, we're going to take a little foray into the market of making movies.
Yeah.
But then I know Marvel were going bust at one point, and I imagine it must have been after this sort of period that Marvel was looking to go bust.
Probably because of this movie.
Because of this movie, yeah. That's $3 million down the drain.
This was what started it all.
Yeah.
They were doing fine until this movie.
Yeah, they were, weren't they?
Yeah, it was just, I literally haven't written one good thing down about this movie.
Were we doing good or were we doing bad?
We were doing bad.
Yeah, we were doing bad. Yeah, I haven't got anything good for this movie either.
Probably shouldn't say that to them, should we? Because
we got loads to talk about. Loads to talk about for the
great.
Patreon on the flip
We're
side.
Talk about the 80s and 90s.
Absolutely, come and join us on the Patreon for the flip side of Captain America.
You know how it's going to start, don't you? So this movie was made in 1990. Let's talk about the 90s.
Yeah, the release date was July 26, 1991. Oh God, no, the release date was 1990 in the UK, 1992 in the US apparently.
But it was released in the UK before the US?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Strange. That's never that way round, is it?
And other facts, it was filmed in...
Italy.
Italy. What other strange little facts? Well, it says country of origin, United States and Yugoslavia. filming locations, Croatia. So I'm imagining it was, the usual kind of thing. The cheaper Croatia used for Italy.
Yeah.
And actually, that final place looked very much like some of the Red Keep from Game of Thrones. So, sounds about right. Well, okay, let's have a quick look at some of our categories then. Okay, so we've got scenes, we've got lines, we've got costume, casting, and special effects. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to put this out here, right? Casting, bad casting, the Captain America.
Yeah.
He had absolutely no charisma.
No.
He gave no impression that he was a physically impressive specimen of a man to play Captain America.
No.
And I can only imagine what the movie action sequences might have been if they'd cast someone who was remotely physically capable.
I do think he was badly cast, but I don't think, even with the perfect actor in this, the script was just terrible.
Yeah.
There was no special effects or stunts or anything. There was no action there. For a superhero movie, it was just boring as hell. So I don't think the casting would have affected the overall how good this movie was. But he wasn't, like you say, he didn't really have any charisma, did he? He didn't have any sort of... There was just nothing about him, was there? He was as boring as the script, wasn't he?
He really was, yeah. And also...
And I've not seen him in anything else, so I'm assuming he didn't make anything else.
No, I've not seen him in anything else. And his name, I think in the intro, he's Matt Salinger, isn't he? So he's I think, is he the son of J.D. Salinger? I can't quite remember exactly. But I don't know. I don't recognise him from anything else. Did you know that there's also a Captain America made in 1980, which apparently is just as bad? So we're not watching that though. No, I'm just going to put that out there. We're not watching it.
I'll quit if you ever ask me to watch that.
Oh.
So if you want me to quit.
Now I know how to get rid of you. Not that I would ever want to get rid of you.
Of
course not. You are the life and soul of I See Bad Movies. You're just not the editor.
Yeah, true.
I'm going to absolutely say that he is terrible casting.
Yeah.
Terrible casting.
I have to agree with you there.
Now, what about special effects?
Special effects. So I've got a couple of things.
Okay.
The rat that we saw in the beginning. So there was a rat that they'd experimented on before they...
Oh my God, yes! I'd forgotten about that rat.
I don't know if that's a proper or special effect, but...
I'd say special effect because it was moving.
It
was moving, yeah.
So it was like Red Skull, but in rat form. Yeah. But with Red Skull, it was literally... You could see...
Yeah.
It was like a latex mask, wasn't it? And you could see the big gaps where it didn't quite... sit flush to his skin. Yes. So it was like a kid's Halloween mask with the big holes for the eyes and stuff. Yep. It was just awful, and they'd made like a rat version of that. And it was just like, what the hell is that? It just looked so ridiculous.
It really did.
I also thought when they infused him with the serum Captain America and he was sat in the chair and they were and there was just kind of it was so shit. He was just sat in a chair and it was like a few little sparks, of like lightning kind of, or electricity sparks coming off. And then we had a weird close-up of the leg muscles and then his knees.
Oh yeah.
I think it went to his leg muscle, his calf muscle, to show he was tensing up. I mean, you could have shown that from his whole body.
Well, anyway. I think that was
But then
it showing us repairing the damage from the polio that he'd had.
I
think that's what it was trying to do.
Yeah, because it did go to his knees as well. I was like, why are we having a close-up of his knees? This is weird. But I hadn't thought of that, so that's probably why. That was just awful as well, because it was the most pathetic little, few little sparks.
Yeah.
You know, when you compare... I know you can't compare it because it's years later, but when you watch something like Wolverine, when he comes out of the pool he's in, when they put in what's it called? What's the metal called? Adamantium. When they're putting that through him, and he sort of rises up out of the pool, and obviously he is absolutely ripped.
Interesting, you're mentioning a very naked Hugh Jackman scene.
No, but it's the way that's shot.
Yes.
And then you compare it to this, and you're like, I know it's years later, and they've got a lot better effects and cameras and everything, but all I had in my head was scenes I've seen like that in superhero movies,
Yes,
the ones I have seen. And I just couldn't help but compare it and think, this is like someone's got, like, I don't know, it's almost like clip arty, like we've seen before, isn't it? It's almost like little bolts of lightning and like little electricity sparks, and it just looks so pathetic.
Yeah, it did. It did.
I didn't, and then I did have the rocket as well when he was strapped to the rocket.
Oh yes.
And the kids taking the photos, and you can see him through his camera and stuff, and it was just, and him just strapped to the rocket. It was just badly done.
And it was very sort of that 1930s kind of serial thing where the hero's strapped to a rocket, isn't it? Or the damsel is
ridiculous.
Tied to the railway tracks. Yeah. I kind of get that they were doing that kind of boys' own adventure. The hero's strapped to the rocket, etc. But you know,
it
also
just looks so bad. And just the whole idea of it is like, okay, you're going to get strapped to a rocket and survive.
The physics of strapping a weight to a side of a rocket, surely you'd have to account for the weight on the rocket for its trajectory.
Sure none of it could happen. I'm pretty sure you could strap someone to a rocket. They go from, where did he go from? He went from Italy to Alaska.
Yeah, Italy to Alaska.
I'm pretty sure
via
you don't
Washington
survive
DC.
that.
No, I don't think you do.
And I'm pretty sure if the human body gets frozen, if it gets to a temperature cold enough to freeze, you're dead, aren't you? You're not coming back to life.
Oh, you say that?
Or are you?
You say that, but...
You sleep in the freezer this night and you let me know in the morning if you can.
But there was a fella who... I can't remember exactly what happened to him or why this happened, but I think it was literally he was just out late one night and collapsed. Yeah. And it was so cold that he was... I hate to say the word preserved because it wasn't that he was preserved. Yeah. But his body got so cold.
So he kind of went into shock or went into some sort of coma.
Yeah, and it went, and his body was, I mean, he had no pulse or anything, but. Yeah. Oh, there was some sort of documentary about
someone
this.
Someone found him and revived him.
Yeah, he was revived. And he'd been out all night in this, like, sub-zero temperatures.
You'd think once your heart stops,
you're
done. Yeah. Like, that's it. You're not... Because isn't it something like... Oh, I saw something the other day about this. They don't actually bring... Like, when they do the defibrillator, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Chest when they put it on your chest and they give you shocks. You can't... People aren't actually dead when they do that. You've still got to have, like... life within you. They're just sort of giving your heart a bit of a boost, a bit like crank.
Yes.
But they're not actually restarting the heart. Apparently, you have to still have. I don't know. But then what's I thought when you see it on like TV and movies, they're flatlining, aren't they? And then they give them a jolt.
And, I know. And
apparently that's not the case. It's you have to still be alive.
Yeah, you have to have a shockable rhythm. Yeah. Still. Yeah.
Your heart has to still be pumping, kind of thing. But they just need to get it back
to the proper rhythm.
Sync, or they need to get it pumping a bit harder or something like that. But,
which is why those like defib units that you can get around about places are so clever. Yeah. Because I've done first aid training. I don't know about you, but I did this first aid training. And we're like, if your workplace has got one of those defib units, or you know, like the Unicorn in Canterbury's got a defib unit and all that in it, so you can use it. And I drive past one in Tenham a lot. There's one on the wall that you can call 999 and be like, this person's having a cardiac arrest or whatever, and they can give you a code and you can unlock the box and use it. It's amazing. But you can put those on. They come with like shaving things because you have to shave the skin. It has to be directly on skin. Nothing in between. And you can put it on and it will tell you what you need to do. The unit will tell you if you should be doing heart massages. It will tell you if you need to give air, and it will tell you if it's at a position where it can give a shock as well. And it tells you because you put it on the body and it reads the body. Wow. The sensors pick up the heart rhythm and all that sort of thing to determine if you can be doing it. And I always remember one thing. It's like, at the end of the day, if there's somebody that needs it, they're already dead. Yeah. So there's no point in not just trying CPR.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Because if you don't, they're already dead. Yeah. If you do,
you might have a chance. Yeah.
All this crap we see in movies about people being brought back to life all the time, it's rubbish. But
if you've got a 1% chance of,
you might as well try.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You've got nothing to lose, literally, have you?
Yeah. So, yeah. But I tell you, and I learned all about the obviously, like, if people are choking, how to get rid of all that. And, like, they don't do the Heimlich manoeuvre that much anymore.
No.
I think that's a last-ditch attempt.
They've got those airbag things now, haven't they?
Yes,
They've got one at the school. They bought one.
Oh, that's excellent.
They bought one, and then we all chipped in to get another one, so they could have one in the hall and one somewhere else.
Yeah.
In the office, maybe.
Because that's the thing, isn't it?
They work really well. They're apparently really good.
Yeah,
so,
that's amazing.
I think they're about £100 something. So we all chipped in.
Is it really?
But yeah, we just thought, do you know what? If your kids are sitting there having their lunch, and it's just such a good thing to have.
So I made this sounds like a big segue, but I made a tomato pasta the other month, right? And Catherine, and we had shredded mozzarella over the top of it. And Catherine had a really big bit of mozzarella, and she put it in her mouth, she started swallowing it, but it didn't all go down. So it was half down her throat, half up, and she was kind of choking on it.
Yeah.
And I looked over and I saw a look of panic on her face, and I instantly got up to go to her, and I was about to grab her and manhandle her into position to do the old back slap thing.
Yeah, slap on the back.
And she said to me, the fear of me coming at her made her cough it up. It was like she said, because she knew she was choking, she knew what I was coming to do. She thought I was going to come and start doing the Heimlich manoeuvre on her, and she thought,
By the way,
she got it up.
Terrifying, because I've done it before where I actually thought that was it. I could not get my breath. And I don't even know what I was choking on. I woke up in the middle of the night, so I don't know whether some saliva had trickled down. I swallowed a bug. I don't know. Like, I literally woke up and thought, and was like, I was coughing at first, and then I just thought, I can't get any air. And then the panic sets in so quickly because you think. And I think I was pregnant with Lois, and Brody was 2.5 in bed, and and it must have been seconds, but it felt like forever. And I had enough time to think, if I die, I've got a 2.5-year-old in bed who can't call for help. Nobody will know, that he's there on his own, because I didn't have anyone that I spoke to every single day. So I was like, if I didn't turn up for work and things like that, people would start going, oh, what's happened? And
have you ever?
That could be a couple of days. And I've got a 2.5-year-old, and the fear and the panic, I just thought, I can't breathe. I can't get my breath. And all I was thinking about was, I've got a toddler in the next room what the hell is what's going to happen to him? If, imagine him waking up and finding me and stuff. And it was just awful. And the panic was so, I don't think I've ever panicked like that. And luckily somehow I managed to get breathing again. But for those few seconds, I was like, this is actually terrifaying. I couldn't get any air in.
Choking is, I think, a horrible
there's something
thing.
Stopping me from breathing, and I didn't even know what it was. I wasn't even eating, so it was like,
God.
Yeah, so it is terrifying when that happens to you.
So
anyway, how did we get onto that?
No, but being frozen, right?
Oh yes, and then coming back to life. Yeah.
A Pennsylvania man's tale of survival is drawing attention to the dangers of cold weather exposure after a walk home in sub-zero temperatures left him unconscious with no pulse when he was found in the snow the following day. So Justin Smith, 26, was walking home in below freezing temperatures after having a few beers with friends last winter when he blacked out. So the college student was in the snow for hours as temperatures plunged to 4 degrees Fahrenheit below zero, which is a fair few degrees centigrade below zero, isn't it?
Yeah, because Fahrenheit is when they say it's like 30 degrees Fahrenheit, that's like freezing, and it feels warm to us because we're used to Celsius. So
he wasn't found until the next morning when his father, Don Smith, saw him lying on the road. He was blue, his face was lifeless. I checked for a pulse, I checked for a heartbeat, there was nothing. And nearly a year after. And I heard this actually in a TV show recently. You're not dead until you're warm and dead, which I think was an interesting point.
Okay.
So referring to a phenomenon in which people who are kept at cold temperatures can be revived despite a lack of vital signs.
That's crazy, isn't it?
So don't get me wrong. I don't think if I went and slept in the freezer tonight, I'd be okay tomorrow. That'd be very much actually. You have literally frozen yourself and you're out of the game. But, in some instances...
wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it? And they've got machines where the blood can come out of the body and be warmed up and then pass back into the body through it, so they warm you gradually internally, and then they'll be able to tell if they can bring you back from the brink, I imagine. But crazy, isn't it? So none of this happened to Captain America. He just woke up after 50 years.
Yeah, he was fine.
He's easy peasy. But that's the super soldier serum, etc.
Yeah.
In the comic books, he gets shot in the head and dies.
Yeah.
And then eventually comes back to life in his coffin, I believe, if I remember.
Yeah.
I think it's at the end of the Civil War story.
It's easy done.
So easy done. So easy done.
So did you have any special effects?
No, apart from the rat.
Yeah.
Apart from the rat, it's got to be seen to be believed.
Yeah, it's. I wonder if we can find a picture of the rat to post.
Yeah. What I'll try and do is I'll try and get a picture of the rat for the Patreon tagline image.
Yes.
For the episodes when we put them out. All right. So what about bad costume?
Costume.
I think we've both got the same one, don't we?
Red Skull.
Well, Red Skull. Would you say costume? That was like
the mask
kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's costume, isn't it? A mask? Is mask counted as costume, or is that counted as makeup?
Makeup, I think.
But it wasn't like
special effects.
Prosthetics. It looked like a kid's Halloween mask.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah. It was. Yeah.
So I guess that comes under costume. But it's got to be Captain America's helmet, hasn't it?
Yes.
Because
yes, it's definitely Captain America's helmet.
You explain what happened with the ears, David.
It's very interesting. So I noticed that his ears didn't look quite human at all.
Yes.
And there was a reason for that, apparently. So originally, Captain America's helmet had holes for his ears to come out of.
Yeah.
But the suit was made of rubber.
Yeah.
And they're filming in Croatia, which is famously quite a hot country.
Yeah.
You know, in the summer, and it certainly looked very warm. Mm-hmm. And I've got no doubt that Croatia can get quite cold in the winter, you know.
And we're talking skin-tight masks, aren't we, as well?
Skin-tight mask.
Yeah.
All made of rubber, apparently.
Yeah.
And when poor Matt Salinger's ears were poking out through the rubber helmet, it would chafe.
Yeah.
So they decided to just cover his ears with fake rubber ears.
Which would be even hotter.
Yeah, I mean, that man has got absolutely no breathing space in that, apart from obviously just his mouth and eyes. Yeah. But that did not look comfortable.
Right?
Well, I mean, like the skin, the skin, you know what I mean. But yeah, the ears were fake. And of course, I have a lot of issues with the Captain America costume
anyway. It had the wings on it as well, didn't it? Which I don't think I've seen before.
Wings on the ears.
They've been cut off now, or are they not?
Yeah, the wings are kind of long gone.
Yeah.
As like sort of sticky out wings. You might see like patterns that might represent them in some of the
but not
newer costumes,
but out ones that he had.
Not sticky out ones. And yeah, I mean, it's just this rubber mask with this white A kind of weirdly plastered on. Mm. It's a strange costume, but it's a classic Captain America costume. But it just looks so funky in live action, seeing it like that. And I'm so glad that they've moved away from it.
Yeah,
I think some of the Captain America costumes in the recent movies are actually some of the most some of the more dynamic looking versions of costumes, and done some of the better ways that they've done some of the costumes. But yeah, this one is very hokey.
Yeah,
I think is the word I would use with that one. Right. So, I think we're pretty much in agreement with a lot of this, aren't we?
Yeah.
What about? Okay, well, we're down to bad line or bad scene now. What are you thinking?
I've got a couple of bad scenes.
Oh, okay. Do you want to hit those?
The first one is when he meets Red Skull.
Yep.
And he throws his shield at him, and Red Skull catches it.
Oh,
it's
yes.
Clearly just a flimsy plastic, like the kids would have in a costume, like a fancy dress
really
costume.
Is.
And then they have this really awful fight scene.
Yeah.
Which is just so choreographed and so badly done, and so obvious that they're not actually hurting each other or probably even making contact. Just that whole scene, I just thought it just looked so shit because the shield was plastic.
Yeah.
The fight scene was clearly not a fight. And then you've got Red Skull looking ridiculous with his mask on and stuff, and it was just it was just awful. But I also had the scene in Italy. I'm saying that with
yes.
In Italy, with they're being chased. Someone's chasing them on a bike, and there's two little toddlers sat in. There's a really narrow little road, and there's two little toddlers sat there playing.
Oh yes.
I don't know why they're out on the road on their own, but
because it's Italy. Life is a little bit more,
relaxed,
genteel and calm. Yeah.
But as Captain America comes past, he picks the two toddlers up and he flips over a car. He does like a somersault over a car with them.
Yes.
And it's so clearly but the special effects are so shit because it's literally it's just obviously he's done a somersault or a stunt double has done a somersault or a flip. They've just put over the top of the image of the car. It's just so badly done. I thought that was terrible as well. Did you have anything?
In terms of scene, I think it's only... what was I going to say about the scene? I think the terrible scene for me was at the very end when Captain America kind of throws his shield, hits the Red Skull, and he just tumbles over the cliff, and you can hear him kind of go,
"Oh yeah."
Ah! But then the worst part of it is for me when the American troops turned up, because like I said at the time, I said, why are they all dressed in black? And I was like, it's a poor choice. Are these black shirts or something? They look like they were dressed up like the old black shirts of looking fascist Italy. Yeah. It was a strange choice. It made me think, are these bad guys that Steve Rogers has to fight? Oh, no, they're good guys. They're actually American soldiers.
Yeah.
It's like, I think they'd have done a better job. Because they'd have just shot Red Skull.
Yeah.
Captain America just threw a shield at him.
Yeah. That he caught, by the way.
Yeah, initially, he caught it the first time. Why didn't he catch it this time?
But if that shield...
Oh, because he'd lost a hand.
Yeah. I thought the whole point of that shield was that it was strong, made of metal, and it can actually do some damage. It's
made. I don't know if in the comic books it's made of vibranium or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's made of the stuff from Wakanda, so it's proper strong. Or I can't remember if in the comic books it's made from adamantium or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's
meant to do some damage, isn't it? If you
it is.
You.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to just catch it like a frisbee.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what it looked like, a big giant frisbee. Because it was made out of plastic.
In Captain America Winter Soldier, he throws it at the Winter Soldier, and the Winter Soldier turns around and grabs it. But there's a real...
Soldier...
He's like
got the same
Steve. He's got super soldier serum through him, and he's got a metal arm. But you hear a real sort of clunk as he catches it as well.
Yeah,
so
because it's metal.
Because it's metal, not plastic, and it doesn't go. You know when you make the sound of thunder with card.
With wobbly,
That's what it was like. It was like the Red Skull catches the bloody shield, and you hear
terrible. Yeah, not good.
Honestly, that the ending was a bit funky. I do have a lot of bad lines though.
Oh, okay, you go for it then, because I only wrote one down, which is...
So, okay. A few of them are sort of Captain America not being able to respond to people in a superhero way.
Yeah.
So the Red Skull says to him, "We are both tragedies, and now I send our tortured souls to rest." That's when he's going to blow up the nuclear bomb.
Oh, okay.
So actually, if I remember right, he's not aiming it at Washington. He's just going to set it off where they are. Okay. So Red Skull says, "We are both tragedies, and now I send our tortured souls to rest." Captain America's response: "Speak for yourself." I mean, I'm not a scriptwriter, but I'm sure there's some pithier reply, isn't there? There has to be.
Yeah.
And then another point, because they've got the same sort of super soldier serum through them. The Red Skull refers to him as his brother a lot, and he says, "You remain a poor choice, little brother." Captain America says, "Stop calling me your brother." It's just so deadpan the way he says it as well. "Stop calling me your brother." What else did he say? Oh, he's full of little things. Red Skull says, 50 years ago, you were Dr. Vassidy's ridiculous idea. You remain a clownish symbol that no one cares about. Captain America's response? I care. He doesn't, like, there's no... I mean, don't get me wrong, Captain America I don't think is a funny character. He's a patriotic...
Yeah.
But you'd imagine someone able just to write a better line. Even if it was delivered differently, you know, like it was a much more serious thing.
Isn't it? Yeah.
If it's like a much more serious thing and he's like, I care for patriotism, blah, 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 or whatever. Yeah. I care for America. I get it if you're putting that across in it, but... Or you could have just gone like the Marvel route, like they do, and just make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
And it's not funny either. There was one moment as well where he jumps out of the plane to land in Italy.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the film, and he's just obviously left Bernie.
Yeah.
And he's like, he jumps out of the plane. He goes, "I love you, Bernie." It was just.
He also, when he first jumps out of the plane.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it is, but someone just says to him, "Don't let America down, sir." As he goes, it's like,
what?
No pressure.
Oh no.
Yeah, one soldier, like one person. You just got to sort out the whole of, the whole war.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, it was pretty painful. Oh, and there was another bit as well where I remember who said it now. You know, I wrote this line down. I can't remember who said it.
Yeah.
But I remember who it was. So when Captain America first storms the Nazi sort of encampment at the beginning of the film, the Red Skull says, "Ooh, an American, just when I'm in need of help with my English lessons."
Yeah.
It's like, what does that even mean? What?
I know.
And no offence, America.
No, don't go to American if you want.
But I don't want English lessons.
No. I am of course. Sidewalk.
I am of course joking.
Yeah.
I am of course joking. But yeah, I don't have anything else.
No.
I mean, it's all bad.
It is all bad.
It's all bad. It's all boring. There's nothing good about it. So, shall we score this?
I've got to give it minus.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Captain America's used up all the stars on his shield.
I'm
the one star it would have gotten.
I'm giving it -5 out of 5.
-5 out of 5?
I fell asleep at least 3 times. It's a superhero movie that should be action-packed, and I fell asleep at least 3 times.
You did,
Probably more than 3 times.
Yeah.
And you were the same. And you love all the
I'm
superhero
a big fan of
stuff.
superhero stuff. I read comic books.
That's what I mean. If you love superhero movies, I mean, I like some of them. I've watched some and thought that was good, but I'm not a fan that would go out for every one that comes out.
And I've watched some that people would think, oh, that was pretty crap. And I've been like, actually, I enjoyed that just as a bit of a camp superhero film.
If someone who's a superhero fan was bored and fallen asleep... Yeah. I mean, imagine how it was for me. I'm not even like...
You're not even that... Yeah, exactly.
This it
must have been a nightmare for you.
So, yeah, it was a nightmare because I kept drifting off and then waking up and it was still on.
It's still going.
And I was thinking, oh shit, I thought that was a dream.
That's what I should have done, is if the remote was near me and I wouldn't have disturbed you getting it, I should have just got it and fast-forwarded it on a bit each time.
We could have both done that for each other and then we'd be like, oh, it's over already.
Oh, it's over already. We could just spend the next half hour just having a nap.
Yeah, so I'm giving it -5 out of
5.
I think it was awful.
Yeah,
it was so dull.
It was awful. I was going to give it. I was just going to give it a -1.
Oh, okay.
But I think what I'll do is I'll give it a -3, 1 minus star for each time I fell asleep.
Yeah.
In the film.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Because I think we fell asleep somewhere between 3 and 5 times, so that
easily
even out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
just
does.
Awful.
And there was a point where you were asleep for a good few minutes as well, and it's like, fair.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Absolutely. There was no way.
There was no judgment from each of us because every time I woke up and you were asleep, or vice versa, we were like, yeah, I get it.
I absolutely was not going to disturb you and go, Emma, you need to watch this film.
No, because we really didn't. And this was, if our strapline has ever been, it's never been more true, has it?
Oh, yeah.
We watch this so that you don't have to, so please don't, because we're not sort of saying that to be like, I think we said that before, but this time we really, really mean it.
Oh, 100%.
Don't waste your time.
Absolutely. There are a vast number of movies you could watch instead.
Although I feel like it's always that morbid curiosity thing with humans, isn't it? The more someone says, don't do this, don't watch that, don't listen to that, don't look up something on Google.
We have given it -5 and -3 stars respectively, so people are going to be like,
do you ever really? See videos where, TikTok's a good one for it, where they go, oh, don't look up this, whatever you do not Google this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's some kind of creepy sea creature, or it's syndrome, or something that's happened, it's really awful and disturbing. And that little part of your brain just goes, I need to Google it. You've said don't Google it, and now I really want to Google it more than ever because you're saying it's so bad.
Do not look up Mr. Hands.
Do not look up what?
Mr. Hands.
Okay.
Don't look it up. Oh, God. Oh, I thought you were of ages with me of the internet. No, I think, no, okay, fair enough. If you don't know about Mr. Hands, don't look up Mr. Hands. It's like people saying, don't look up Blue Waffle. And things like that.
Yeah.
Don't do it. These are all things that come from the early days of the internet.
Oh, okay.
And they are not for human consumption.
Okay.
They should not be. Anyway, moving on. But those are the sorts of things those are the sorts of things exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Look, Captain America 1990. Just don't. Just watch Captain America, the First Avenger.
Yeah,
just watch that.
We've hit an all-time low with this one.
It's a much better film, even though it's not that great a film in its own right. It's a decent film.
Yeah.
But it makes this film look like The Godfather Part 2. This film makes Captain America: The First Avenger look like The Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
To that degree, because this one is so bad.
It's so bad, yeah.
Absolutely, you are right. We watch it so you don't have to for this one.
And this one we've definitely
absolutely is the most important thing to know. So, if you want to hear about the good bits of Captain America 1990,
I've just scored it -5. I think I'm going to struggle.
You can come and join us over on the Patreon, where there are 30 episodes of The Flip Side, because this episode will be episode 31. So there's 30 episodes of The Flip Side, which is obviously, as you all know, the opposite of what we talk about in the main episode. So the good or the bad we focus on. And there's also our last year's Christmas special.
Yeah.
There are 5 episodes of I See Bad Kids Movies with Emma's son Brody and myself, occasionally Emma, and my daughter Catherine in one episode. Yeah. And there's also
the J-Lo movie.
Oh, that's the same. That was the same episode that was released.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was just an early release for the Patreons because they're lovely. All of our listeners are lovely. But some
Pick yourself out of that hole.
yeah, no, I think so. All of our listeners are lovely, but some people also follow us on Patreon and get extra episodes.
Yes. And they're even lovelier.
and make themselves lovely in other ways. They're not even lovelier, they're lovelier in other ways.
Oh, okay.
Lovely in other ways as well. But it just means that we can rent movies like this. Speaking of which, did you cancel the subscription to MGM Movies? For God's sake. You don't have long before they're going to start charging.
I know.
And this is why we need Patreons.
I'll do it now.
All these bloody movies have to be rented. Not long gone are the days of free films. But thanks everybody. We'll see you hopefully on the flip side. But if not, we'll see you next time with our next terrible superhero movie. Bye.
Bye.